Welcome to this week's edition of Inside Northeast Racing. Got a lot of racing action coming at you. Going to spread some news regarding the past weekend's action. There's some action down at the action track down at the Ulster County Bull Ring down at Accord. Got sprint car action coming at you from Orange County Fair Speedway. Going to see the sprint cars go at it with some motion and a little bit of commotion as well. But we've got a lot of things to cover here in this week's edition, including an interview with the Junkyard Jet. And a big congratulations to a first-time winner in the Pro Stock Division on behalf of Inside Northeast Racing and NISCA. NortheastRacingVideos.com, bringing you the action. Of course, backed once again by Jack Hughes Race Car Parts and more. We'll kick it off down at the Accord Speedway this past Friday night. Mel Schrufer bringing the field down to green in the modified feature event down into turn number 1. Didn't last long down into turn number 1, and around goes Andy Bicchetti's number 34. Get him back in the side-by-side stance and goes back to green. This time, Schrufer leads the field down. However, trouble on the J17 of Jeff Hetzler. We're back to green, and away we go. Billy VanInwegen up on the front, leading the way down the backstretch. Keep an eye on the 97 car of Danny Tyler. He's had a great start to 2013. Here's Schrufer, got back by Billy V. Billy V repaid the favor, though, got back out to the front, left Schrufer back there to battle with Danny Tyler and the 33 1/3 of Tommy Meyer. Of course, you'll have your yellow flag periods there on the bull ring, and we go back to green, back to racing action, and down into turn number 1. Billy V continues to be the man in command as they work their way here in the later stages of the event. Some side-by-side action, a little bit of muscle on around through the corner. When it was all said and done, Billy VanInwegen would pick up his first career modified victory at the Accord Speedway. Following Billy V across the line was Danny Tyler second, Tommy Meyer third, Danny Creedon fourth, and Jackie Brown Jr.
Not even close,
round out your top 5.
I know what I did yet. I mean, we worked so hard for this my whole career, and this is my 4th year in the modified division, and man, I know what it's like to be beat down every week by these guys. They're the best at what they do. And I'm blessed to have a great opportunity with the Sherlocks. Everybody that helps this team. Joey Barbagallo put an awesome small block in this thing. And, man, there's no way I'm going to sleep. Billy,
I'm Erica Decker. I'm Miss Accord Speedway, and thank you for watching Inside Northeast Racing.
Thank you for watching as well, Erica. A big Mother's Day weekend coming up at Gene Cole's Utica Rome Speedway. We'll talk more about that as we go along. Right now, we're going to stop out at the Utica Rome Speedway for their modified main event this past Sunday. As we get ready to go green down here, the initial go-round, getting ready to fire for the green flag. As they come down, a big field of modifieds. You notice the track smooth and fast once again. Some great racing conditions out at Utica Rome. They fan out 3 wide here off of turn number 2 in the early going. The 55 of Matt Hulsizer, one of the powers to be here in the early going of this event. Matt rim riding up through turn 3 and 4. As they come down off of turn number 4, Hulsizer was your early leader. Take a look back through the pack. Multiple grooves here at Utica Rome. Matt Shepard digging down to the inside here, trying to make his way up through the field. He and Stuart Friesen mired back in the original starting grid. Up on the front now, it is Todd Burley starting to exercise his muscle as Burley goes to work on Hulsizer. Looking down to the inside, Matt Shepard has now made his way to third. Some good close racing here up on the front as they make their way down the backstretch. Burley taking the advantage away from Hulsizer. And you know Shepard was going to make a challenge here before it was all said and done. Shepard moves to second spot now, dealing Hulsizer back to third as they work their way back down through turns 1 and 2 again. Todd Burley looking for his first win in some time out at the Utica Rome Speedway. Matt Shepard, well, as I said, you know he's going to be a factor, and he used the inside, he used the outside, he used the middle, he used every lane on the racetrack. You see it starting to shine up and slick over, and Todd Burley was just too fast down on the inside here as he held off the advances of Matt Shepard. Going back to green here in the late stages of the event, and Burley would power away. Shepard would have his hands full back there with Stuart Friesen, as Friesen now would join the battle up here. Here's Friesen looking down to the inside of Super Matt. The Canadian sensation Friesen trying to apply pressure. Shepard trying to hold off the advance, and that is all Todd Burley needed to pull away up on the front. Burley put some distance between that second place race as they come down off of turn number 4. Here Shepard will sneak into the second position, and of course you know what Matt Shepard does, takes another line, a different line, to come right back. What a great battle there for second spot, as Burley enjoying the scenery up front with nothing around him. That race going side by side back there for the second position. Your Utica Rome modified main event, here is Shepard down to the inside holding off the advance once again here of Stuart Friesen. That side-by-side battle, that seesaw battle you may as well call it, as they went back and forth. That allowed Todd Burley to pull away. Todd Burley would pick up the win in the modified main event this past Sunday. Matt Shepard would take second. Third spot would go to Stuart Friesen. Willie Decker and Pat Ward would complete the top 5 at Utica Rome. Now we go up to the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park. Glen Ridge Motorsports Park, modified feature event, going green here. As they make their way down into turn number 1, you see the side-by-side action back through the pack. Up front, things pretty tight as they work their way down here. Elmo Reckner, your early leader in this event. Reckner aboard the 17 car, showing the way down through turns 1 and 2. Here the field follows suit as they make their way down the backstretch. Elmo Reckner trying to pick up a victory here in the early going. Bobby Varon, of course, one of the big names up at the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park. Here is Bob Vetter. Bobby Vetter with the 53, riding in third. Opening night winner, the 20 of Craig Hansen, riding there in fourth spot. Close competition as they come down off of turn number 4, just ahead of Elmo Reckner. He has now caught the tail end of the field. They are racing side by side, dead ahead of him, and that allows Bobby Varon to close in on him. Well, Varon would use the inside lane and use a lane nobody else used down on the inside to get his way to the number 1 spot as he goes by Elmo Reckner. And now in heavier traffic, working his way up through the backstretch and into turn number 3. He'll widen his line off of turn number 4, and Bobby Varon now sets sail. Varon, your leader, followed by Elmo Reckner as they work their way here in the latter stages of the event. There's Bob Vetter. Vetter had a good run going there with the 53 machine. Reckner working up on the outside of Craig Hansen. That was a side-by-side battle for second. The opening night winner, Craig Hansen, riding there with the 20 car. Elmo Reckner would try and come back at him, trying to get back to the runner-up position. Use the outside line there to do so as he works around the outside of Craig Hansen. Out front, it's all Bobby Varon. Bobby Varon would go on to pick up his first win of 2013 up at the Glen Ridge Motorsports Park in the Bill Nelson-owned number 85 car. Bobby Varon was the winner. Elmo Reckner would finish second. Craig Hansen came across the line third. Rocky Warner would finish fourth, and Richie Price rounded out your top 5 at Glen Ridge. Well, it's time for our NISCA Weekly Winners segment. The New York State Stock Car Association bringing you the weekly winners. Don't forget NISCA's golf outing coming up Thursday, May 16th. $100 per person. Includes your golf cart, lunch at the turn, and dinner. You can sponsor holes or tees. Just find the NISCA website or find them on Facebook for more information. New York State Stock Car Association winners of the week. We've got a bunch of them, and we'll run down through them here by Speedway. We'll start off at the Accord Speedway, where Greg McCluskey was the Sportsman winner, George Deckelman, the Pure Stock, Joe Judge and Spec Sportsman, Jimmy Sykes and Pro Stock, Billy VanInwegen and the Modifieds. Go to Glen Ridge, it was Bobby Varon and the Mods, Danny Varon, CRSA, and Joe Thorne in the Rookie Sportsman, Ben Riggy in the Cruisers, Rob Van Arnhem in the Street Stocks, Greg Pesolano in the Sportsman. At Utica Rome, first-time winner Ed Ostrander in the Pro Stocks, Todd Burley in the Modifieds, Heath Carney in the Sportsman, Ricky Breed in the Pure Stocks, Ruben Kennedy in the Street Stocks, kicks off the Fonda crew, Kenny Holland back in the single cam, Sean Reba in the dual cam, Ivan Jocelyn in the Pro Stock, there's Mark Kislowski, his first Fonda win in the Modifieds, and Dave Constantino. The 55 is Stephen Kammer at Orange County, Tyler Dippel, Bobby Varon, Scott Flammer in the CRSA. Albany Saratoga, it was Jack Bublak, Kenny Tremont, Rob Yetman, Yule Cook, Jeremy Pitts, all winners up at the Great Race Place. Lebanon Valley, it was J.J. Hatch, Kerry Vandenberg, the 5 of Brandon Ely, Phil Sherman's 99, the 55 of Brett Haas, the first small block modified winner, the 8 of Jay Corbin, and for the 4th time in a row, the 20 of Brett Hearn. All weekly winners congratulated by the New York State Stock Car Association, NISCA, one of our fine family of sponsors here at Inside Northeast Racing. Well, we go back to racing action, down to the Orange County Fair Speedway. In the Sportsman division, it was Tyler Dippel in the number 1 car in the number 1 spot that would bring him down to the green. Dippel, after a couple of weeks in Victory Lane up at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, heading back down to Orange County Fair Speedway. There's no Sportsman this past weekend at Lebanon, so it looks like Dippel going to split his time that way. Green flag is out. He mashes the gas and takes that number 1 position and scoots away from the remainder of the Sportsman field. As they make their way around green here, Frank Venezio with the number 27 working up on the outside, looking pretty potent. But Tyler Dippel, he has been fast everywhere he's gone here in 2013. Getting a lot of seat time across the Northeast. He's also had a lot of time holding the checkered flag. Keep an eye on the green machine there as they come by. That is Brian Crummell. Crummell was going to be fast on Saturday night. He starts to close ground here as they go down into turn number 3, and Crummell starting to make his march towards the front. Checking the field out as they make their way by. Jimmy Spellman's number 28, holding off the advances of the 18 of Anthony Perego here. Spellman and Perego would run a great race on Saturday night down at the Orange County Fair Speedway. This is Sportsman action from Middletown. Making their way down here onto the front stretch, getting into the latter stages of the event. Now, working down low, the 18 of Perego going to work on Spellman's number 28 once again. Spellman turning back the efforts. Where's your leader? Way out front. Way out front it was as the white flag flew. The number 1 car of Tyler Dippel. Going to pick up yet another checkered flag. Is this the final go-round? Dippel would hang on for the win. Tyler Dippel gets the win. Frank Venezia would finish in the 2nd spot. Anthony Perego would come across the line 3rd. Jimmy Spellman was 4th. And Chris Stevens rounded out your top 5 at Middletown. Going to be a great one. Hope you plan on being there for that big weekend coming up here the end of the month of May at Utica Rome. Well, now we head out to the Fonda Speedway. The track of champions, Dave Lape, in his 50th year and final season of competition would bring him down to the green flag. Lape on the inside of Elmo Reckner, coming down to the green flag to kick off Saturday night's modified main event. Reckner around the outside would take the early lead. Here's Lape coming back at him down the backstretch. They did run side by side for a short time as Lape using the inside lane, Reckner up on the outside lane. And coming down off of turn number 4, Elmo would head it in the right direction and take the number 1 spot and not look back as they work their way through. Meanwhile, working his way up towards the front, the number 3 of Mark Kislowski on the charge here. He had run down Elmo Reckner, now to contend for that number 1 position. And Kislowski on the inside with the Morris Auto Group number 3 car using the inside lane takes the top spot away from Elmo Reckner. Reckner riding back there in position number 2, now sees the distance start to get a little further between himself and the 3 car. On the charge as well, the 76A of Ronnie Johnson, as they work their way by here. Coming down the front stretch, he will take over the second position from Elmo Reckner. And Ronnie Johnson and his good friend Mark Kislowski, these two racers pit next to each other, share a lot of the same speed secrets. They are starting to come down to the end here. They start to race side by side. Kislowski on the inside, RJ outside of him, and now we come up on some heavy traffic. A late race scare as the number 1 goes up in smoke on the outside of Darwin Green, but it was going to be the number 3 of Mark Kislowski coming home for what would be his first ever big block modified win at the Track of Champions. Congratulations go to Mark Kislowski for the win. Ronnie Johnson came home second. Jimmy Davis was third. Mike Mahaney finished fourth. And Jeff Trombley would round out the top 5.
Come on over here, Mark. Congratulations, buddy. It's been a long time coming.
Oh yeah, it's our 4th year in modifieds and our first win, so it's been a struggle, but it's good.
And indeed, congratulations to Mark Kislowski on behalf of all of us here at Inside Northeast Racing. Way to go, Mark. Win number 1 in the modifieds.
For Inside Northeast Racing, my name is Mike Mel, standing here with the Junkyard Jet, Jimmy Thomas. Jimmy, first off, I got to ask you, where did you get the nickname the Junkyard Jet?
I was born and raised in a junkyard, and most of my parts come from a junkyard, and I guess that's where I got the name.
One of the things, I'm the announcer here at Utica Rome Speedway, and we always like to call the top side the jet lane, because that seems to be where you like to run. Is that just where you're most comfortable, or what is it about the top here at Utica Rome?
Well, that's where I ran for years, and they kind of named the top of the speedway the Jet Zone after me because I was the junkyard jet, and that's where I ran, and I'm trying to get a handle on the Jet Zone again. I kind of lost track of the Jet Zone, but I'm hoping to get it back.
Tell us a little bit about the car you have here. Obviously, it's a vintage model, and it's a vintage race car as compared to some of the other stuff that people are running.
Yeah, it's a 57 Chevy body on a tubular chassis, probably a 30-year-old chassis. I built it eight years ago. I've had a lot of fun with it. I built another one just like it 2 years ago, and I hate the other one that I built. I had to go back to the old one because I really feel comfortable sitting in the seat, and it's a pleasure to drive.
Your last win came back here in, I believe it was June of 2003. What would it mean to you to go out there and win another pure stock feature here at Utica Rome?
Well, I got 2 little girls that are 9 and 10 years old, and I'm waiting to win one with it. All I want in life is a picture of them 2 girls in this car and a checkered flag. They say it can't be done, but I'm hoping to prove them wrong.
You mentioned growing up in a junkyard. How long have you been in racing and been around the sport, and how long do you want to keep doing this?
I've been racing 38 years. I started right here on Blacktop in a 57 Chevy. I plan on racing. My goal is to race 50 years. I love racing, and like I tell everybody in the younger generation, there's a lot worse habits than racing. I know it's a bad habit, but there's a lot worse habits out there.
You know, you've been here through a lot of different configurations. If you've been here on the asphalt, that meant it was a small quarter mile. You know, it's been a big 5/8. It's currently a banked half mile. Of all those configurations that you've run on, what was the most fun for you?
Well, I ran Fulton a lot too. I really like Fulton, and well, Utica Rome, there's a lot of running room, and probably Utica Rome is my favorite. You know, but back in the day, there used to be a cushion on the top, and when they graded it, there was always a cushion up there, and I used to hook the left front on the cushion, believe it or not, and the other three wheels would be out in the slop, and I would hook it around there, and I would beat them to the finish line.
How tough is the competition here now, you know, with guys like, you know, Ricky Breed, Ron Hawker in your division?
Well, it's tough. It's tough to keep up with them, you know. It's kind of a money game, and, you know, I don't have the money really that it takes to run with them, and, you know, I choose to run a lot of older used parts, and where these guys run a lot of better parts and better stuff than I run, but I'm in it for the fun.
Now, you said you built the car exactly like this a few years ago. Any hopes of building a newer car here in the coming years, or are you going to stick with Old Faithful here?
No, I just bought a brand new, well, a year-old chassis that I intend on putting a 57 body on that, and it's a little lighter and a little heavier on the left side, and hopefully I can compete a little better with that car.
When do you plan on bringing that car out?
Hopefully within 3 weeks.
Well, Jim, we want to wish you the best of luck tonight, and thanks a lot for taking the time out to do the interview.
Thank you.
Inside Northeast Racing, my name's Mike Mallett.
Thank you, Mike, and certainly great to see the Junkyard Jet, one of the characters. Back to racing action. Back down to the Orange County Fair Speedway. Down at Middletown, it was modified time, and time to go racing with the modifieds. And we're underway as they bring them around here. Up on the front, what would be a newcomer and a veteran. Down at the hard clay, Richie Urich working up on the outside of Bobby Varon. Of course, Bobby Varon, no stranger to victory lane. He's won the Eastern States 200 down at Middletown. But this year, the first time he calls the Orange County Fair Speedway home. Here's some racing action as they go down into turn number 3. Oh, hang on, Shane Jablanca triggers off an incident down here between turns 3 and 4. When we go back to racing, Bobby Varon up on the front would pull away the 14 of Richie Urich. Yes, that's correct. If you haven't been watching, Richie Urich, same color combination, but a new number as he has gone to the 14 here. There's Bob McGannon with the 21 working down on the inside of Chris Schultz as they go down into turn number 3. Keep an eye on the black and green car, the monster, Clinton Mills. He would have a great run this past Saturday night. He's looked good since the drop of the green here in 2013. Mills has shown he's going to be a power to be reckoned with here in the modifieds down at Orange County. Up front, it's Bobby Varon being hounded here by the 14 of Richie Urich. Urich, the ageless veteran, riding back there in the runner-up position as they make their way down into turn number 3, trying to close ground down in the inside lane, able to nip away at that lead. Meanwhile, working his way up, keep in mind, I said watch the 21 of Clinton Mills. He was coming hard up on the outside. He goes around the other 21 of Bob McGannon. As you look back through the pack here, there's the Middletown Missile, the 19 of Chuck McKee. Now, it was going to be Clinton Mills joining the top 3 as he goes to work on Richie Urich. Mills, the youngster, up on the outside of the veteran Urich as they work down off of turn number 4. Mills on the charge. He had sights set on the 66 of Bobby Varon. And right here you can see he got a great bite off of turn number 2, but notice the yellow lights in the background. Yellow came out just prior to Mills going by the 66. When they went back to green, here we are down to turn 1, yellow again. Mills would get a couple of good runs at Bobby Varon, but never got the chance to put it away. As they come down here in the late stages, down across the line, Bobby Varon holding off Clinton Mills as Bobby Varon would go to victory lane here. Mills would pull to the back bumper, but Bobby Varon was indeed your winner as here's that last-ditch effort falling just a little bit short. Varon going to win the drag race down to the line. Varon gets his first victory as a regular down at Orange County. Finishing in second was Clinton Mills, Tommy Meyer third, Richie Urich was fourth, and Chris Whitehead rounded out the top 5 at Middletown Sunday night. Well, we get ready to go back to racing. We stay right down at the Orange County Fair Speedway this past Saturday night, where the CRSA sprint cars were on hand. Good showing of CRSA sprints, the 305 powered sprint cars, the Touring Series, the Capital Region Sprint Agency, as they get ready to go green after their 4-wide salute down here in front. The CRSA cars had recently been in competition over the weekend, Friday night up at Glen Ridge, the prior weekend at Fonda. Danny Varon with a couple of consecutive feature victories there, but of course Varon at his regular Saturday night home meant it was going to be a new winner here this Saturday night. As the green flag flies down the backstretch, there's the 3 of Josh Panizik working his way up on the inside as they come down off of turn number 4. As we said, a good showing of CRSA sprint cars down on the hard clay. Working down here into turn number 1. Some good side-by-side action. Here's down the backstretch. A little bit of contact, and that is the 72. Jeremy Quick going up and over as we get ready to go back to green. Bringing him down in single file fashion. Green lights are back on, and we are back underway. Right there, that is Gary Palmer Jr. Of course, Gary Palmer, the promoter down at Accord Speedway with a winged pass, a former mini-sprint champion. And this is Gary Jr. in a CRSA sprint. That's Scott Goodrich in the 30, a veteran down on the hard clay, as they make their way down here through the corner. Up on the front, it was going to be Scott Flammer with the 27 showing the way. Scott Flammer's 27 in command. Of course, Flammer, a driver who has been all over the Northeast in open wheel competition for the most part, a lot of modified history. Car on the move here as they come down. It's the 5 of Justin Barger. And yes, that's Justin Barger from ESS and Patriot fame. Barger working up here on the 3 of Josh Panizik. Of course, Barger's father, Chris Barger, a longtime veteran of the hard clay. Chris Barger ran both the small block and big block modified classes for a number of years down at Middletown. So a little closer to home, the Cortland Manor native, as he works down off of turn number 2, getting the feel for the hard clay and starting to head towards the front. Making his way down here into turn number 3. We got one car slowing on the front stretch. And we will be ready to go back to green here as they come off of turn number 4. Barger leads the way down here into turn number 1. As they come down off turn number 2 now, things start to settle out. White flag in the air here. Barger going to try and advance as he works off of turn number 2. Try and take over the runner-up position down here into turn number 3. Take the outside sweep. Thought he was going to get a run on the outside for the lead. They come off of turn number 4, but it would be the win going to Scott Flammer with Justin Barger finishing second. John Matrofalo would finish third. Tyler Chartrand was fourth. And Josh Panizik rounded out your top 5. Head up the road now to the great race place, Albany Saratoga Speedway. Their modified competition this past Friday night at the Albany Saratoga Speedway. Jeff Trombley would start on the pole. Trombley going to lead the way around in lap number 1, fanning back through the field there as they work their way down into turn number 3. A little bit of contact back here. Neil Stratton down on the inside as they make their way up off of turn number 2 now. A couple of cars come together off the corner here. The 14 of C.G. Morey right between the 667 of Matt Depew and the 21P of Pep Karate. Karate going around after the contact down in turn number 3. But Karate would refire and be able to continue on. Back under green, here is Neil Stratton working down on the inside. Kenny Tremont Jr., who was fast on opening night and showed that he was going to be fast here on week number 2 as well. He was making his way up through the pack as we fan back. Cars on the move here. Up front, Jeff Trombley now finds slower traffic dead ahead as they race side by side. It gives the 115 of Kenny Tremont an opportunity to run down your leader, Jeff Trombley. Then it was on. Tremont works up to the outside of Trombley. Side by side they race while the slower cars race side by side ahead of them. Tremont trying to thread the needle here between the 221 cars. The 21J of Trombley, your leader. The 21P of Pep Karate back on the tail of the field. There's Kyle Sheldon's 518. Tony Ballesteros 38 also right ahead of your leaders. And your new leader would be Kenny Tremont. Kenny Tremont Jr. taking over the number 1 position, and now he would start to pull away from Jeff Trombley. Trombley trying to come back at him, but Kenny Tremont then put it on cruise up front and went to the cushion up on the outside here to get by some of the traffic. When checkers flew, it was Kenny Tremont winning his 300th overall career win. So win number 300 for Kenny Tremont. Jeff Trombley came home second. Matt DiLorenzo finished third. Jeremy Wilder finished fourth. And Stuart Friesen rounded out your top 5 at Albany Saratoga Friday night. Final stop going to be down at the High Banks, down at Lebanon Valley Speedway. The Valley of Speed for their modified main event. Modified feature event this past Saturday night down at Lebanon Valley. Up on the front, it was Mike King and Mark Flack bringing him down to the green. The Kingfish would lead the way around here on lap number 1. The Flack attack right there with them as they make their way down through turns 3 and 4 here to come around to put lap number 1 on the board. It was Mike King shown as your early leader. The Kingfish had a strong run, led many laps in the early portion of the program. Of course, everybody's eyes were on the 20 of Brett Hearn to see if he could make his way back to victory lane. Right rear tire going down on Andy Bicchetti's automobile there, so Bicchetti goes behind the wall with the 34. Will come back out onto the racing surface. There's Andy deeper in the field when they do go back to green. Kenny Tremont, well, it was a great weekend, great start to the weekend on Friday. Well, here, something got up into the radiator and took out the coolant system of the 115. He was a DNF on Saturday night. Here's some side-by-side racing as they work their way down the backstretch now. Steve Huff working up on the outside of the 77 of Keith Flack as they work their way down here off of turn number 4. The racing hot and heavy at the Valley this past Saturday night as they come down into turn number 1, working the inside lane. Brian Berger going to work on the Ravina Rocket, Keith Flack, and Flack would pull away there with the position. Berger charging down to the inside with that number 60 car as they come down off of turn number 4. You see the 74 of J.R. Hefner starting to make his presence known. Well, we wondered if it could be done. 4 for 4. Brett Hearn picks up the victory at Lebanon Valley this past Saturday night. Brett Hearn, the modified winner, over Kyle Sheldon, with Kyle Hoffman finishing 3rd, J.R. Hefner 4th, and Mike King rounding out your top 5 at Lebanon Valley Saturday night. Like to thank our sponsors, of course, Jack's Used Race Car Parts and More. They've been with us from the beginning. Gene Cole's Utica Rome Speedway, regular action every Sunday night. The New York State Stock Car Association, NortheastRacingVideos.com, Bobco Video, and of course the YouTube Northeast Racing Videos Under the Helmet series. My name's Dan Martin. You've been watching Inside Northeast Racing, sponsored by Utica Rome, New York State Stock Car Association, and Jack's Used Race Car Parts and More. Inside Northeast Racing is a Northeast Racing video production. Your 24/7 racing connection on the World Wide Web. Until next week, this is Dan Martin saying, see ya.